there's always more to the story. Join your hosts, Dr. Eric Shaw, prosecutor Ryan Frank, writer Adrienne Bonenberger, and comedian Ryan Connor as they follow up on the most recent episode of Baggage. This is Carry On.
Hey everybody, welcome to Carry On, the supplemental episode to Baggage. And we're picking up from last episode where one of my favorites, two FBI profilers, Melissa and Adrienne. Joining me this episode is the whole gang. We have Adrienne Bonenberger, not previous guest, Adrienne, FBI profiler, Ryan Connor, and Eric Shaw. Ryan, you had said in the last episode that we don't have any listeners in Bucharest, that we can go ahead and talk trash about Bucharest and Romania because we don't have any listeners. Wrong.
Really?
Yeah, I can look up the analytics and we have one.
We have a listener in Bucharest.
There's a listener. Well, I can't see Bucharest. I can see Romania. We have a listener in Romania.
Hey, thanks for listening. We appreciate the support out there in Romania.
Yeah. So to that listener, I say salute.
That I'm stunned. I don't understand how that happened. Maybe the Ukraine episodes got them in. It's
more likely someone's using a VPN, so it looks like they're from Romania, and we actually
they're probably actually in Vermont.
Yeah, that's right. It's my cousin. No. There we go. So that's nice. Also, my algorithm is obviously picks up things for the podcast and Canine Companions and all that stuff. And we have Canine Companions has they donated, I guess, a dog to the Washington Nationals. Mm-hmm. So they have their own they have their own service dog.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what does a service dog for a baseball team do?
They probably bring a bat to the batter sometimes. It's probably non-essential services, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Personal servitude.
Yeah, it's more that. Yeah. It's more that than I don't think many professional athletes, aside from like Paralympians, really can, really need that.
I don't know why it just flashed into my head, but there's an episode of The Simpsons where Barry Bonds, Daryl Strawberry's in it, and they have it's about baseball. It's a baseball team, and Bart and Lisa are just heckling Daryl Strawberry from the stands. It's like, oh, go easy on him. He's like, he's a professional athlete. He can take it. And it just cuts to him and he's just standing in the outfield. A little tear falls.
I mean, that's how I feel. Anytime I'm at a game and they're yelling things at players, it makes me uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. I was at a Bulls Wizards game and I'm sitting right by the tunnel, and Tyson Chandler, a Bull, who was one of my favorite players at the time, gets ejected because he retaliated from something. And as he's going down the tunnel, someone said something. It was like a teenager said something like, I can't remember. It was like very insulting or threatening toward his mom or wife or something like that. And Tyson Chandler just stops and looks at him and goes, "Why would you say that?"
I'm glad everybody's here because I really want to go over the feedback we got and the little bonus we got from Adrienne and Melissa. So they had made a comment, I think it was in the episode, about how much they can tell about us just from our backgrounds and how much they can read about our personalities from that.
I don't like
this. So piggybacking off of that, I sent them a video.
No, they had made the joke that they were judging people off of their bumper stickers. That's where this whole thing came from.
Right. So Eric had sent me a video of him. How do you describe that? Your stickers on your ATV, right? Yeah. And anybody curious about that, I post that on our social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But anybody can go to social media and you can see those. And how do you, for anybody that hasn't seen that, how would you describe those stickers? What are some of the stickers on your ATV?
It's a lot of like
incel
80s
logos.
No, there's no incel logos. It's a lot of like, there's references to a lot of like my favorite movies. So stuff from like The Big Lebowski and Aliens and Predator and Tombstone. You're talking about The Simpsons. There's a Simpsons sticker on there. There's just some also just goofy, esoteric, weird shit that I find funny and most people find very odd. So
on a whim, I sent that to them and I said, hey, ladies, if you don't mind, take a look at this video and what do you think about this? What can you tell about Eric from this? And with some additional character traits, some information they would not know necessarily about you, that you're a 45-year-old male, your education includes a medical degree, you have a successful medical practice, married in a committed relationship for over 15 years, you have 2 children under the age of 18, that you fancy yourself a podcast host, that you enjoy hunting, camping, and rafting recreationally, and that you've never been prosecuted for a criminal behavior.
You told them this, or they told you this?
This is what I told them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I sent them an email with
So you told them all the stuff.
Correct. With all the stuff. And man, Melissa responded and Adrienne contributed to it. And they sent me an email with a full FBI profile, criminal profile on you. And it is awesome. Interesting. What I'll do here is, so I was thinking, like, how do I present this? It'd just be boring for me to read it.
What percent of, perverted criminal is he? Is this like an 80%, like 80% serial killer? Is that the type of readout you get?
Well, what you just described sounded like a really fun Facebook poll. So I think I'll end up probably doing that. But you can judge for yourself after so I was thinking to myself, how do I present this information to you guys? So what I ended up doing is having it professionally read rather than me just reading it the whole time. So I'll just play it live and I can pause it and as this is going and see what you guys' reactions are.
I'm a little worried.
Professionally read. Is it Jude Law? Who's reading it?
What can we afford?
I mean, I'm going to go with probably like serial killer, right? Because you're a doctor and you seem well adjusted, but there's these sort of weird subversive things about you. And I think everyone assumes that doctors have narcissistic tendencies anyway. So serial murderer.
What if it's all about how he is as a lover?
Criminal profile of Eric Shaw, the distinguished yet deeply suspicious outdoorsman. Age, 45, but with the energy of a man who believes 30 was, quote, peak performance, and refuses to accept evidence to the contrary. Demographics, white male, suburban zip code, statistically overrepresented in HOA leadership disputes. The subject exhibits a constellation of traits consistent with high-functioning overconfidence, recreational ruggedness, and compulsive podcasting behavior. While he poses no threat to public safety, he represents a moderate risk of unsolicited monologues.
Yes.
Background and education. Holds a legitimate medical degree, which he references approximately every 6 to 8 minutes, regardless of topic. Runs a successful medical practice, beloved by patients, feared by insurance companies, and tolerated by staff who have learned to nod politely when he brings up, quote, the podcast. Mastered in anatomy because, quote, no one else was doing it. The decision has proven to be a good one, as it has allowed him to succeed in trivia games and makes him popular at dinner parties, where he can identify the name of the muscles that allow 15% of the population to wiggle their ears. Colleagues describe him as skilled, dedicated, and occasionally insufferable when he gets on a roll. He demonstrates high cognitive functioning, strong work ethic, a tendency to cite medical literature in casual conversation, and a belief that his clinical expertise extends to geopolitics, wilderness survival, and microphone technique. Married for 15 plus years to a partner who has mastered the art of selective hearing.
Yes.
2 children under 18, both of whom have already surpassed him in emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Wanted a motorcycle, partner said no. Settled for an ATV, which partner insists must stay in the garage, for fear the neighbors will see its adornments.
That I feel is dead on. Is that true, Eric?
No, but I think maybe it could be true. She's never openly said it, but
Lifestyle and hobbies. Avid participant in hunting, camping, and rafting, which he describes as, quote, rugged survivalism, though he brings a $900 cooler, artisanal jerky, and a portable espresso setup. These outdoor activities are consistent with a desire for controlled adventure. He seeks environments that appear rugged, but remain within safe distance of cell service. Stays out only as long as the $900 cooler keeps things cold. Believes his outdoor skills make him mysterious and resourceful, though his family knows he once called roadside assistance from a national park because he, quote, Didn't like the vibe of the trailhead. Fancies himself a gunslinger, but in reality, he's only slinging TV/movie quotes and one-liners. Enjoys watching television, but only animated shows lasting under 21 minutes.
No.
Full of dad jokes. Social and interpersonal functioning. Subject is generally well-liked, but known to deliver unsolicited TED Talk-style speeches at barbecues. Uses phrases like statistically speaking in non-statistical contexts. And attempts to mentor people who did not request mentorship. Criminal history. Never successfully prosecuted for any criminal behavior, which he cites as proof of innocence, rather than the more likely explanation that he's too risk-averse to jaywalk. And he believes crime includes things like using the wrong recycling bin. Nevertheless, he maintains an air of misunderstood renegade, which is difficult to reconcile with his Costco membership, supermarket and restaurant rewards program memberships, and meticulous lawn care schedule.
Oh man, that hits a little too close to home there.
I will say that he's not a fake outdoors guy. He dragged a yak through a blizzard one time. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but basically, what was it like?
It was an elk.
You dragged like a quarter of an elk through 2 miles of snow.
It was doing.
Or it was a quarter of an elk at a time, right?
Yeah, it was butchering an elk on my own. I had to, pull out. It was not fun. And I frequently go out where there's no cell signal or anything. I go way out there.
I think it's funny you take a little bit of offense, like just a little bit.
To that one. Most of them are just like,
Statistically speaking, he goes off of cell service all the time.
I feel like if they knew that you played CK3 and EU4, that would have like boosted the odds of serial homicide background somewhat. They didn't know that specific fact.
No.
But,
the extreme level of nerdery.
I mean, if I had included that you have a just in case safe, I think that's a big red flag right there. Like
everybody
there's a lot of
a just in case safe.
What does that mean? Is that like a go bag?
Yeah, basically.
Explain it, Eric. A safe with what? What's in your safe?
I mean, I have none of it's organized, but in my safe is my guns.
Oh,
I thought you had if you had to leave, like if like the law was on you or whatever, like the government went south.
I don't
or something.
really have that. I joke about that. No,
okay.
I joke.
You were giving me a hard time
because
I wasn't prepared one time.
People have them here because of earthquakes and fires.
No, I
don't
joke.
have it myself,
mine would be like gold Krugerrands and like my passport and like James Bond sort of thing. But
that's what I'm saying. You say that with a smile.
I mean, there's different types of the bug out kit too. Like people who have $1,000 or $2,000 worth of Canadian dollars and Mexican pesos. You look a little bit askance at that because that's very practical. But I know people who have a couple thousand euro or a couple $1,000 worth of yen, Japanese yen. And that to me, that's a deeply perverted mind. That's sort of like, that's unbalanced. It's like, there's going to be an emergency. You're going to hop a flight to Tokyo. What's going, and $2,000 doesn't go very far in Tokyo. That'll get you, a cab ride.
No, I've got all my camping gear together, and I've got probably about like a week's worth of mountain house meals, and I've got enough firepower to hold off a small army. But like my thing would just be head to the mountains and hope for the best.
It sounds like zombie stuff. I mean, people hear that, they think zombie.
That's the baseline. That's the scenario I'm most prepared for.
See,
I'm definitely not that. Yeah. I mean, our neighbor's house caught fire a few days ago and we thought our house was going to burn down. I guess it's like a week and a half ago now. And discovered we were not prepared at all. We were like, okay, I guess everything's gone. And it was just us and the dog. And Rachel had her computer in the car already because she was pulling up in an Uber right as the neighbor's house had gone up.
Jesus.
And she calls me. She's like, get out of the house. It's on fire. And I look out and it's like embers coming at me. And I just grabbed Wolfie and my laptop and ran out.
To tie all that together, like with the just in case and the fires and stuff, a couple of years ago, there was the big fire that burned all the neighborhoods just to the north of us. It was all over the news. And we were in the pre-evacuation zone. So we're getting all of our shit packed away. And Becca's very organized too. She has all of our paperwork in like one, fireproof safe. All the kids' stuff is there. We're getting the laptops together. We're getting like photo albums. Or she's doing all this, and I'm getting all the guns. And she's like, what the fuck are you doing? This is not important. I'm like, do you understand how much of a problem it would be if we lost all these? Like, it's not just like the losing them. It's the like law factor of this. And also there's a safe with a shit ton of ammo, which is basically a bomb if the house were to go up. Like, I have to do this. And she's like, you're not prioritizing the right thing. And she's told this story to easily a dozen people. And whenever there's a dude around, they're like, yeah, that's what I would do too. And I'm like, yes, you're wrong, woman.
I feel like gun ownership is less an indication of criminality than like the one story. And I'm obviously not an FBI person. I've never been near being an FBI person. But the thing that jumps out to me is the quartering and dragging haunches of an elk through a blizzard. Like I think like the ability and willingness to butcher an animal. The closer you get to that as the thing that you're doing all the time, the more I look at people like that, not you obviously, but just sort of generally, and say to myself, this is a person who could probably commit a crime and get away with it and therefore be incentivized to commit more crimes. And yeah, that's in part because I've never done that. I've never butchered an animal before, not because I haven't thought that would be a useful skill. It's just like, seems pretty disgusting.
Yeah, I'll say it. I'm thinking of Eric. Yeah, I think Eric is closer to a serial killer than I am because he's butchered an animal. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying you're like there. I'm not saying but I'm just saying I think I'd have more hesitation.
Closer than us.
I'm going to make a super weird analogy, and I've told this to a lot of people, and people either look at me super weird or totally get it. I'm really into just doing things myself, and so I look at hunting very, very similar to how I look at gardening. And I start with absolutely nothing. I put a whole lot of work in. And at the end of the day, I get to put something on the plate. And I like doing it from step one all the way to finish. And so I don't mind. I don't like butchering it, but I also would rather do it myself than pay someone to do it. And I do find it kind of satisfying to do the whole thing.
It's admirable. And I know that I'm a hypocrite because I would never do it, but I would eat it every day. But yeah, I think if it came down to it, I would just be eating berries and mushrooms. Actually, I wouldn't be eating mushrooms if I had my own say over it because I know I would pick the wrong mushroom. So I would do no mushrooms.
Yeah.
No, you got to have a gun. And then in this awful scenario, then you can menace somebody into butchering the animal for you.
Oh, I thought you were saying have a mushroom tester too.
Oh, I mean, once you have a gun and ammunition, you've got basically the whole world in your hand.
Your options open
Try
up.
it. Yeah.
You just can't sleep.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's really interesting, Eric. And still, I'm thinking, you know who else was a planner? Ted Bundy. You're not talking me out of. Again, I don't think you're there. You're just closer than us. Is all. That's all I'm saying. That's just what I'm saying. And if the profilers could see your reaction and the joy that you have when you talk about scenarios where it's survival and hunting and stalking and like you again, I think a lot of people are like you, and that doesn't mean that there's a lot of borderline serial killers. I just think that you're closer than us. That's all.
Let me put you in a real life scenario. Let's just say that you lived where I lived last year. The night before those fires hit, they were telling everybody in the city, have a go bag packed, be ready to get out of here. And by the way, half the fire department were giving the night off. They didn't tell us that. We found that out later. But the go bag thing, what would you have ready?
I mean, definitely like my laptop. Obviously,
that's all just practical stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything special, like a passport.
You wouldn't bring your bazooka or anything like that.
I would try to bring as many of my guns as I could. Again, just like if you lose a gun,
just he slides it in there. Now he's self-aware.
If you lose a gun, it's a huge deal. Like you have to go to the sheriff's department and report all this stuff because, like, let's say they didn't burn and they got stolen and got used in a crime, you can be held responsible. So, like, it's a huge deal.
What if they're in your case though, and you've already filed off all the serial numbers, right?
See, this goes into that like. Creep towards serial killer. No, I have not filed off any serial numbers.
But they're all in a safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, part of that is because you got to feel like, I don't know, reading either true crime or just reading about crime in general, which is of course inherently interesting. I'm not sort of outing myself as somebody who could be a serial killer. I'm just saying this stuff is interesting to read about. You often see the sort of the dumb person who says like, oh, that pistol isn't mine. It was stolen from me. And then the pistol is used to commit a crime. And they've obviously it wasn't stolen. They're just sort of like they filed the serial number off or did sort of a typically dumb criminal thing, and then they get caught almost immediately. Which is why you have to make a big deal out of it, because you do run into so many of these sort of like, dumb criminals who are like, oh, well, I'll just say that the gun was stolen. It wasn't mine. And then, that throws all the doubt off me. And the police are like, I've literally heard this hundreds of times.
Eric has all of his defenses ready. He keeps saying, not serial, which suggests possibly a spree killer.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Spree killer and a egotistical spree killer, such that he would do so much planning and he would be the guy that figured it out. Like, I have the perfect crime. That's definitely more likely who you would be. Just so proud that you did, planned it out right. But again, you make like some bonehead mistake and get caught like they all do. Yeah.
This sounds like that guy in Idaho that killed those students.
Yeah. And I just listened to a podcast on that actually, where they were talking about that, about how in the modern age, what was the thing that tied him to it? It was DNA on, does anybody know? It was DNA on some arbitrary piece of evidence or something like that. But without that, it was like no connection. Like they wouldn't have found him.
Wow.
It's always wild to me when you read the statistic about how few homicides actually get closed in this country versus then you get stuff like that where they nailed him on this like little tiny detail. But that was all over the news. I think there was a lot of pressure and probably a lot of resources put into that case to solve it.
Sure. Yeah.
This sounds like a good time to plug Shaw Family Medical. Bring your kids.
Yeah, right. A family practice you can trust.
If you're a loner or a drifter, somebody that nobody would miss.
No, there's probably a lot of dads in Colorado that's like, I like what he's putting down. I'm going to take my kid to that guy. I tell you what, it might be safer than California, though. Can I point out that on this show, once or twice, Ryan, you had a fire situation in your house? I think during recordings on multiple times. During this episode, you left your stove on in your neighbor's house. Maybe the problem is Californians.
I didn't leave my stove on. I texted Rachel asking if she could turn the oven off, and she didn't see my text, so I went up and turned it off. But yeah, at my old house, the fire alarm just started going off, and I cannot even remember why. I think it was just a power thing. Well, I think it was last Wednesday. Rachel's coming back from London, and I have this like premiere thing that we're going to, and I just got out of the shower. And I haven't even gotten ready. And she texts me, Uber's pulling up. I'm going to go outside and help her with her bag. So I put my clothes on. And then she like calls, come on. It's nuts. 44 firefighters.
Wow.
Took nearly an hour to get the fire out. They were just trying to get it contained.
It's crazy. And too early. You don't know what's going on, right?
Oh, yeah. We were told by a neighbor because it's like, so we're on the end of the street and then it's up the side of the street. And it's actually 3 houses in, but the lots are so narrow. It's like, I mean, it's so close. I mean, you can easily throw a football into the yard from there. And we're also the only 2-story house here. So the smoke is just coming up on our roof and like the embers are hitting the top of the house.
Jeez, that's scary.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Their backyard, they're just like hoarders. It's just like, I mean, it's like a junkyard back there and plus 2 sheds. And something went up back there. And anyway, a neighbor said it's an old vet and his nephews or somebody like young as they were taking advantage of him. And they were doing some sort of drug activity in the backyard.
Thanks.
And now his house has to be torn down.
Going back to the guns and ammo stuff. One thing I had read, if you have ammo in particular and it starts going off in a fire, the fire department will just let your house burn if they start hearing those popping off. That there's too much risk for them. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that'd be crazy to expect him to go in there.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, my safe that all my ammo is in is a banker safe, so it's relatively small.
Yeah.
But one of the big things is there's a like pound or 2 of black powder in there, and if you close that up and it gets hot enough, that's like a giant bomb. I can't even imagine what that could do.
You know, it's interesting. Bullets in heated conditions don't necessarily react the way people think they do. Like you see it in movies, like somebody just throws a bunch of bullets in fire or something like that, and they start shooting, and like people are ducking, and it's going through walls and stuff like that. You know, every action has an equal and absolute reaction. The reason bullets work is because they're in a chamber, and the chamber has nowhere. The explosion, that bullet, that round has nowhere to go except out the barrel very fast.
So probably more just pop.
Kind of both the other way. In fact, when I was in the Marine Corps, a buddy of mine on our helicopter, we had a 50 caliber machine gun. And what you do is when you're shooting the machine gun, if you're shooting it fast enough, you have to do it in bursts, because if you just hold the butterfly trigger down, you actually will have the barrel start to heat up where it'll turn transparent. You can actually see the rounds going down the barrel because it'll be glowing red if you go too fast. So even if you're doing it right, it still gets very, very hot. So that what can end up happening is it gets so hot that the next round that's loaded up is superheated immediately, and it goes off. You have a runaway gun, and just boop, 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 even without pulling the trigger.
Oh, wow.
So that's why you do it in bursts. Well, my buddy, he was using the machine gun, and it got jammed. And the procedure when it gets jammed is you pull the charging handle back, and you have your hand underneath the bottom of the gun, so that live round, when it drops, it doesn't drop into the bag underneath the 50 caliber machine gun, which is full of really hot brass, the expended shells that you've already fired. It's a big bag underneath the gun. And you want to catch it before it falls, because if it falls into a hot bag, then it could go off. It can cook off. So the gun, it was just the perfect storm of the barrel was really hot, gun gets jammed, he puts his hand under, and he pulls the charging handle back, the round drops, and it cooks off in his hand. Whoa. So he has a 50 caliber round go off in his hand. You would think, based on TV and stuff, that round is going to go through the aircraft, or it's going to come back and hit him or something like that. It basically was just a pretty good sized explosion in his hand. He had flight gloves on, and he says his hand was numb for about a day. But other than that, he was fine. But that's pretty nuts. Yeah, it's totally fine.
What are flight gloves? It's literally just what it sounds like. It's not like Kevlar or anything.
They might have some Kevlar knitting in there. They're fire resistant gloves.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And I had a round cook off in my bag one time.
I mean, that's like the thing. If you hold an M80 in your hand and let it go off, it's going to sting, but it's not going to do any damage. But if you hold it in your fist, it's going to blow your hand off.
What? I was going to say, you've had an M80 go off in your hand?
No, I'm saying that you could. The concept, the physics of what you're talking about. So if you were to open palm an M80 like this and light it off, it's gonna be a big explosion. It's probably gonna burn your hand and hurt a little bit. But if you hold it, it's gonna blow all your fingers off.
Interesting.
If you have I can't remember if it's a black cat or a cherry bomb, but if you have it in your hand like this and you light it in your grandma's basement, and then you forget to open the doors and unlock them before you light it, and you just start unlocking them, and you're struggling to unlock them, and you can't unlock them, and it goes off in your hand. It rips the skin off your thumb.
That's super.
I did that when I was about 5.
I was going to say that's very specific. Yeah.
Yeah, I lit it, and then I'm like, there's 3 locks.
Yeah. Disclaimer, don't do any of these things. Yeah. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Rounds going off inside of a building. But regardless, what might happen or whatever, I can totally understand law enforcement and first responders being like, yeah, I'm not going to mess with that. So I'm going to mention what I always fail to mention is plugging our own show. So if anybody likes the show, they want to support the show, they want to keep it going, it is not free. And any excess we have, we donate to the charities that we're involved with. So it all goes to a good cause. So I'd encourage anybody to visit thebaggagepodcast.com/support to become a member, or go to Apple Podcast to sign up there. It's super cheap. It's like $2 a month. I mean, what's a cup of coffee right now at Starbucks? $6?
$5-6.
A latte, right? So, for 3 months, one coffee can get you 3 months of support for this show. It's a pretty good deal. So consider doing that. Also, comment, subscribe, share it with friends. Apparently, leaving comments and rating the show makes a big difference. So please do that. And before we go, Ryan Connor, anything you want to plug?
Most importantly, pre-order my memoir, 12 Guys Walk Into a Kitchen. It's about my giant family. You can get it through Simon & Schuster's website or anywhere that sells books online, or you can order it in person too. It's best for me if you do it from Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Simon & Schuster, because they definitely report their numbers.
And if you think you might end up buying his book, go ahead and pre-order it, because pre-order determines the first round of printing, correct?
Exactly.
So don't wait for it to come out. Yeah.
Exactly. They determine the pre-order late July.
Okay, so do it now, actually.
Yeah.
You've heard this episode. Get on it. I know I have. Also, go to ryanconnorcomedy.com to see your upcoming tour dates. And,
Las Vegas Comedy Cellar next week, the 15th through the 21st. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. See you guys next time. Oh, yep. I know that. Oh, also, the next episode is a real doozy. A sexual assault survivor. It's a rough one, but a really powerful one. So I encourage everybody to tune in to that. And on that note, we'll see you guys next time. Music for Baggage provided by Quincy Ledbetter. You can find his stuff at qledbetter.com. Graphics provided by Megan Weaver. You can find her at meganweaverart.com. Special thanks to our premium members for their support. You can become a premium member by clicking subscribe in your Apple Podcast app, or by visiting thebaggagepodcast.com/support to sign up or to gift a membership to someone. A percentage of all proceeds go to charity. If you have any questions, comments, or a good story to share, please email us at thebaggagepodcast@gmail.com.